As surprising as it may sound today, many prominent Americans opposed their country's entry into World War II. In this edition of American Dissidents, we feature U.S. Senator Gerald P. Nye, who not only opposed the war, but investigated the munitions industry and the Hollywood war propagandists. We interrupt to ask you to please subscribe, like, and share this so we can keep bringing you scintillating historical and biographical material. Now back to the video. He grew up in Wisconsin. Nye never attended college, but that didn't stop him from becoming a newspaper editor at 18. His first paper failed, but he didn't quit. He moved on to another newspaper in Iowa, where he was known to write between 2 and 4 editorials for each edition. It was his move to North Dakota, though, that began his rise to national politics. This windswept prairie state had a population that was roughly 90% rural. Promoting the interests of farmers became a passion of Nye's. He joined the Nonpartisan League, which rallied to defend farmers against the forces of big business, the railroads, and high finance. His ties to the League helped him gain appointment to a U.S. Senate seat after the sitting North Dakota senator died. He was 33 years old, the second youngest in the Senate, when he took office in Washington, the first time in his life he had traveled east of Chicago. Throughout his 19 years in the Senate, Nye represented the prominent farm constituency of his home state. He battled special interests, railing against the money power and international bankers. He condemned the Federal Reserve as a tool of private bankers who used their control over American money and credit to their own selfish ends. In 1934, he became chairman of a Senate committee that investigated the munitions industry. This put the young senator's anti-war stance in the national spotlight. His opinion was that the extreme profitableness of the weapons industry jeopardized peace in the world. He favored nationalizing the war industries. His committee found an egregious level of cooperation between the federal government and the munitions industries that effectively promoted war. A powerful orator who kept to his anti-war principles, Nye later helped draft the Neutrality Acts and opposed the legislation aimed at drafting young men into the armed forces. But Nye stirred even greater controversy in 1941 when he proposed a Senate investigation of the radio and movie industries, which he believed were mobilizing an unwitting public to go to war. Nye gave a radio speech in St. Louis listing the executives of all the major Hollywood studios, which he called, quote, the most gigantic engines of propaganda in existence to rouse the war fever in America and plunge this nation to her destruction. Even before Charles Lindbergh joined up, Gerald Nye was a featured speaker at dozens of rallies put on by the America First Committee, the most prominent organization that opposed America's entry into World War II. On the day of the Pearl Harbor attack, Gerald Nye was giving a speech at an America First event. Word of the attack leaked, but the organizers thought it might be a hoax. Nye gave most of his speech but announced the attack at the end. Nye cast his Senate vote for declaring war against Japan and later Germany. Like Lindbergh, he urged support for the U.S. war effort, but never regretted his non-interventionist stance. He lost his Senate seat in 1944 and never won elective office again. His tireless campaign to keep America out of a foreign war and his investigations into the munitions industry and the Hollywood propaganda machine make Gerald P. Nye an American dissident.